Ensara TV Ekerenga Kiomogusi.
My name is Ndikiri Mugambi. I'm the Vice Chair of the Committee of Housing, Urban Development and Public Works. Mr. Chairman, members, upon the presentation of the supplementary budget, we made the following observations. One, as you are aware, we oversight two state departments, that's the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, and two, the State Department of Public Works. So I will start off with the State Department of Housing, for Housing and Public Works. Members, the supplementary estimate number 2 for the year 2023-24 propose a budget reduction amounting to 2,237,278, and 278, which we are put in millions, but actually it's in billions. Reduction in the State Department budget affecting only development expenditure with no changes to the current expenditure. The affected projects include the completion of 182 ESP markets with a cut of 1.5 billion due to under-absorption owing to non-viability of a number of earmarked ESP market and the various social and police housing projects, with 2 billion reduction in GOK funding for the National Housing Development Fund. 2, the State Department allocation for donor funds sees a notable increase amounting to 1.132 billion, comprising of 1.030 billion for the Kenya Informal Improvement Project, KISIP, Phase 2, and 92 million for the Kenya Urban Support Program, KUSIP, Phase 2. The additional funds will cover the shortfall in the provision for transfer to 23 counties participating in the KISIP project to undertake infrastructure works and facilitate execution of preparatory activities stroke requirement for the second phase of KISIP. Number 3, as at 31st March 2024, the State Department's cumulative expenditure was 11.467 billion, comprising of 3.218 billion from the government exchequer and 6.11 billion from local A&A and 2.138 billion from donor funding. The local AIA expenditure includes 5.492 billion from the housing levy, which collected 26.7 billion before the High Court decision that outlined the further collections. The State Department plans to invest the unobserved 20 billion in government securities until the Affordable Housing Board is operational and can allocate funds to implementing agencies highlighted in the first schedule of the Act. I want to bring to the attention of the members that the board has already been formed, and because that money was not utilized, the cabinet, the principal secretary in charge of State Department sought permission from the CS, and that was, as per procedure, it was granted, and they were given the green light to invest that 20 billion in government securities. Let me go to the State Department of Public Works. The supplemental estimate number 2 for the year 2023-24 proposes 86 million reduction in the State Department's budget, comprising a reduction of 100 million for recurrent expenditure and a slight increase of 14 billion for the development expenditure. The reduction in recurrent expenditure primarily affects the allocation for personal emolument to reflect actual requirements. Number 2, the affected projects include 15 food bridges, seawalls and jetties funded under the Coastline Infrastructure and Pedestrian Access Program, whose allocation, Mr. Chairman, was reduced by 48.4 million. On the other hand, the State Department has increased allocation for the construction of mausoleum for the late President Kibaki, amounting to 35 million, and another 30 million of renovation and equipping of the National Building Inspectorate. Mr. Chairman, you note that this million was gotten from the contingent fund. Notably, the 30 million for the innovation and equipment of the National Building Inspectorate was spent under Article 223 of the Constitution to facilitate audit inspection and the testing of buildings and foot bridges affected by El Nino rains experienced across the country. Mr. Chairman, I now go to the committee's recommendations on Supplemental Budget 2. Article 223, Expenditure, Mr. Chairman. Vote number 1095. The State Department for Public Works. The withdrawal of that million in December 23 to facilitate audit, inspection, and testing of buildings and affected foot bridges affected by El Nino rains experienced across the country need to be approved. So we are making a plea that this money is already approved. So I mean, asking the committee to really approve this spending. The financial recommendations. Based on the review of the proposed supplemental estimate 2 for the year 2023-24 for the State Department of Housing and Urban Development and State Department of Public Works, as well as engagement with the sector stakeholders, the committee recommends the following: that vote 1095, the State Department for Housing and Urban Development, the proposed changes in the supplemental estimate 2 for the year 2023-24, comprising an increase in development expenditure amounting to 2.378 billion and a zero change for the recurrent expenditure be approved without amendments. Number 2, vote 1095, the Department of Public Works, the proposed changes in the supplemental estimate 2 for the year 2023-24, comprising an increase in the current expenditure amounting to 86 million and an increment of 14 million for development expenditure be approved without amendments. That's all, Mr. Chairman, committee members, on supplementary 2. To the estimate for the year 2024-25, and I will refer the committee.
So, Honorable Ridikri, just to be clear, it means here you've sustained the status quo?
Yes.
No change, no nothing?
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think you are a good man.
Mr. Chairman, I think that the major problem is what is now coming up. I will refer you to the estimates for the year 2024-25, and I will refer you to page 25 of our document, that is Chapter 6. That is item number 60, Committee's observation and recommendations. And we'll start with the State Department for Housing and Urban Development. Mr. Chairman, just a statement that we are overseeing a very important agenda of the government through the Ministry of State Department of Housing and Public Works. This is the better plan as stipulated by the government. So what we're about to present to you is in line with that initiative, because we are convinced beyond reasonable doubt that this is a government agenda that must be given a lot of support by all of us. I therefore ask you with all humbleness to listen to us as we make our observations and recommendations on this beautiful agenda of the government. The committee observed the following. In the year 2024-25, the State Department has been allocated 87,590 billion, which comprises of 1,315 for the recurrent expenditure and 275 billion for the development expenditure. This complies to the approved allocation of 2023-24 with an allocation, an increment, compared to the approved allocation for the year 2023-24 allocation, which was which an increase of 7,028 billion, comprising of 4%, that's 53 million, and an increase in the current expenditure, and 9%, that is 7.018 billion increase in the development expenditure. Number two, we are dealing with the source of fund. The State Department development expenditure will be funded through local appropriation in aid, collected through the housing levy, government pool housing, as well as civil servant housing scheme, amounting to 64.159 billion. Donor funds for the KUSIP and KISIP programs amounting to 19.401 billion, and GOK exchequer amounting to 2.4384 billion. Number three, it was noted that as a significant increase in donor funding by 13.322 billion from 6.079 billion to 19.401 billion. The observed increase is attributed to the enhanced budgetary allocation and the second phase of Kenya. Additionally, the second phase of the Kenya Informal Settlement Program likewise saw a substantial increase, with its allocation rising by 5.929 billion. Through the annual county government and national allocation bill. The proportion of government exchequer funded projects significantly increased from 8.866 which represent a reduction of 6.432 billion, that's 72%. ESP markets and other Vision 2030 flagship markets. Construction of alternative building material technology apps in various constituencies, and GOK funds for police housing project. Funding for this project in the year 2024-25 will come from proceeds collected from the housing levy, AIA, that is the Affordable Housing Act, and the Affordable Housing Act number 2 of 2024 defines housing scheme as the construction of affordable housing units. I think we are trying to do a justification here, along with the related social amenities, infrastructure, services, landscape development for social welfare, and the trading purposes. Mr. Chairman, the State Department has 2 new projects, namely Building Climate Resilience for Urban Poor, Book Club, and the Kenya Informal Settlement Development Project, KISLIP. The Building Climate Resilient for Urban Poor is funded through the government exchequer amounting to 28 million and will be rolling out in 12 counties, pilot counties, targeting specific areas characterized by urban poverty and vulnerability to climate change. Mr. Chairman, the State Department is yet to develop the criteria for determining which counties, and we ask for indulgence of this committee that in the process, which is not too long, we will get the criteria and the committee will be able to communicate the specific counties that will be picked. On the other hand, Kenya Informal Settlement and Development Project is funded through a grant amounting to 100 million, from the government of Italy, targeting 3 counties. The counties are Kajiado, Kilifi, and Siaya. However, the State Department did not provide the list of projects to be funded under Kenya Informal Settlement Development Program. I think what it is here we observed, Mr. Chairman, is that this is to prepare for the implementation of the project. So the money that I've just put in there was released to prepare for the next phase of the program. Number 6, the committee noted the Affordable Housing Board was constituted and already met to put in place timelines for the presentation of development plan by implementing agencies listed under the first schedule of the Affordable Housing Act, number 2 of 2024. According to Section 11(2) of the Act, fund allocation are consistent upon the submission of an annual investment program. Additionally, Section 15 and 17 mandate the board to submit these plans to the Cabinet for approval, after which the Cabinet Secretary present them to Parliament. Mr. Chairman, as out of 30th April 2024, the State Department reported a total collection of 34.72 billion through the housing levy. The committee noted that the State Department and sought approval from the Treasury to utilize the surplus amount, 20 billion proceeds of the housing levy for investment in Treasury bills. This is what I've just mentioned also when I was in my introductions there before. Following the bond's approval and the recommendation of the National Treasury, the State Department provided the relevant document to support the above decision. Meaning the procedure, Mr. Chairman, to invest in the Treasury bills was followed. Number 8, for the year 2024-25 and the medium term, the State Department targeted to complete the construction of 6728 housing units with a contract sum of 154 billion. As at 30th April 2024, the State Department had incurred 6.412 billion on this project, of which 1.664 billion was for the Lot 1 of constituency housing project. Phase 1, as you are, Mr. Chairman, the implementation was banded into lots, and so Lot 1 is the one that I've just mentioned, and 4.747 million for an ongoing project under slum upgrading, as showed in Annex 1. We have given an annex. There's an Annex 1 for your reference. In the year 2024-25, the State Department shall require 22.472 billion for already commenced project, while a planned project with a contract sum of 158.908 billion. Mr. Chairman, you'll notice that I had indicated on my opening statement on that paragraph, there is 154 billion, and now there is 158. What I'm saying here is that this figure is inclusive of members' project, which were not originally put there. So we have factored that. That's causing that difference. Particularly the stored projects shall be determined by the Affordable Housing Board pursuant to the provisions of the Affordable Housing Act 2 of 2024. I refer you again, Mr. Chairman, on Annex 2 for the list of projects. Mr. Chairman, you remember we are still operating because of the circumstances surrounding this formation of this board, we are still operating under transition clause 60 of the Act. I'm sure Mary Odhiambo will be very keen on this to find out how we're operating. I just want to preempt that we are operating under clause 60 of the Act. Number 9, the committee noted with concern the lack of collaboration and input from relevant government departments, particularly the State Department of Public Works, in the design phase of the already completed project, such as park loans, ongoing projects, and recently advertised project. Mr. Chairman, what we are trying to do here is that we really, as a committee, we need to see a lot of collaboration between the State Department of Public Works and the State Department of Housing, because they are doing complementary businesses. Number 10, in the year 2023-24, the State Department initially allocated 3 billion for the completion of 182 ESP market. However, the implementation challenges necessitated an adjustment in name, location, and budget. And I remember, Mr. Chairman, last year you asked us why we are still maintaining these markets. Some of them are not viable. So what happened was we had to go back again and look at the whole concept, and those challenges were now factored in going forward. A design review mandated by executive directive aimed at enhancing market viability and accommodating approximately 300 traders per market. This adjustment increased the average cost per market from 15 million to 60 million. Some market deemed unviable could not justify further investment, resulting in a budget cut of 1.5 billion in the supplemental estimate number 2. In the year 2024-25, the State Department will require 14.5 billion to complete the reviewed list of market as well as other presidential directives. Mr. Chairman, this is, I think, very important that because of this element of some of them not being viable, and then one or two other things might come up, we ask for due understanding and of that initiative that the committee has noted. As at 31st, 2023, the State Department and pending bills amounting to 1.513 billion under development expenditure. And the committee noted that no effort had been made to settle the same as of close of the half as required by regulation 42(1)A of the PFM, that's National Government Regulation of 2015. And I want to emphasize here, Mr. Chairman, that all these pending bills have been presented by the pending bills to the pending bills committee at the Treasury for review. And once the verification is done, then we should be able to report as such. The State Department of Public Works. The committee observed the following. For the year 2024-25, the State Department has been allocated a total of 3.275 billion, which includes 2.070 billion for recurrent expenditure and 1.205 billion for development expenditure. Compared to the approved allocation for the year 2023-24, this represents a net increase of 1.021 billion, that's 23%. This change is attributed to a significant 40% reduction, 1.412 billion in recurrent expenditure, and a 48% increase, that is 391 million in development expenditure. The State Department transfer allocation to government agencies for the year 2024-25 was reduced by 1.405 billion from 2.346 billion to 941 billion. This significantly impacts the National Construction Authority, whose GOK exchequer funding has been entirely cut, resulting in a 60% reduction from 2.232 billion in the year 2023-24 to 926 billion in the year 2024-25. The committee noted that the remaining allocation of 926 billion was insignificant to cover the authority's non-discretionary expenses, such as employees' costs, rent, utilities, contracting services, and insurance, and additional staffing need due to the increased construction activity for the affordable housing. Mr. Chairman, I think this is a very serious paragraph for you to really put your attention on, because you realize if National Construction Authority cannot even, is not going to be able to operate statutory deductions, it will not be able to commit all that. And I think this will be a bit punitive if we don't really consider adjusting their demand so that they can operate, because they are really involved in this affordable housing program. The committee noted the National Construction Authority levy as per NCA Act, Section 31 was repealed by a legal notice number 24 of 2017 dated February 28, 2017, as led with the Kenyan Gazette Collegenda number 25 of 2017, to compensate for the reduced appropriation in aid collection, and the National Treasury allocated GOK funding to the authority. However, this funding has been entirely rationalized in the proposed 2024-25 estimate. The allocated funds for the year 2024-25 are insufficient, to cover personal emoluments amounting to 1.085 billion and the other operating expenses amounting to 1.24 billion. This shortfall presents significant challenges to maintaining operational efficiency and meeting financial obligations of the authority. Pursuant to the first schedule of the Affordable Housing Act number 2 of 2024, the State Department of Public Works and the National Construction Authority constitute implementing institutions for the housing and affordable housing program. As key enablers of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda under the housing and settlement pillar, the State Department and the National Construction Authority have substantial resource requirement for the year 2024-25. Specifically, the State Department requires funding through the housing levy amounting to 7.750 billion, while the National Construction Authority funding needs total 3.954 billion. These allocations are crucial to support their strategic initiative and ensure the successful implementation of the housing and settlement goals. As at 31st December, Mr. Chairman, the State Department and pending bills amounting to 739 million and development expenditure. The committee noted that no effort has been made to settle these outstanding bills as required by regulation number 42(1)A of the PFM, National Government Regulation 2015. Again, as I said, on the State Department of Housing, these bills also have been sent to the Treasury under the Committee of Verification, who will give the way forward. Committee's recommendations. Mr. Chairman, members, we indeed make some non-financial recommendations, which I think are very relevant as we put our case for the State Department of Housing and Urban Development. By 31st July 2004, the Affordable Housing Board, in consultation with the Cabinet Secretary, appoints a substance that we are making this, that by that 1st July 2004, the Affordable Housing Board, in consultation with the Cabinet Secretary, appoint a substantive Chief Operating Officer as required by Section 25 of the Affordable Housing Act number 2 of 2024. Mr. Chairman, you notice that there is no substantive CEO, and that's what it means. The current one is acting. By that 1st July 2004, the Affordable Housing Board should allocate 16.060 billion to the State Department of Housing and Urban Development for the completion of 46 ongoing projects in line with the provision of Section 60 of the Affordable Housing Act number 24, and to consider for funding the State Department's 88 project pipeline list with a contract sum of 158.908 billion. The Cabinet Secretary from the Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development should by August 31st, forward to the National Assembly the annual investment plans for implementing agencies under the State Department for Housing, Urban Development as approved by the Affordable Housing Board and Cabinet in line with the provision of Section 11 and 15 of the Affordable Housing Act number 2 of 2024. The Cabinet Secretary, that's another financial recommendation. The Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development should ensure a more collaborative approach between the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, Public Works during project design implementation with the minimal use of external consultants unless absolutely necessary to due to expertise constraints. Mr. Chairman, we also made an observation to avoid duplication of projects as well as guide the committee in undertaking its oversight mandate. The Principal Secretary for Housing and Urban Development shall by 30th August 2024 ensure that all ongoing and new projects tendered by the State Department are geo-referenced and the report presented to Parliament. I think this is very, very, very important. The Principal Secretary for State Department of Housing and Urban Development shall by 30th August 2024 submit to the National Assembly the list of projects implemented under the Kenya Informal Settlement Redeployment Project, KISLIP, in the 3 counties, Kajiado, Kilifi, Siaya, to facilitate project oversight. And 7, the Principal Secretary for Housing and Urban Development shall ensure all the outstanding pending bills totaling to 1.513 billion are paid by August 31st, 2024, in accordance with the Regulation 42(1)A of the PFM as National Government Regulation of 2015. State Department of Public Works. The Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development shall by August 31st, 2024, table to the committee annual investment plans for implementing agencies under the State Department of Public Works as approved by Affordable Housing Board and the Cabinet in line with the provisions, Section 11 and 15 of the Affordable Housing Act of 2024. I think there's a comma that following sentence is expunged. It is just hanging. I think those. Before the enactment of the Finance Bill 2024 on housing, on June 30th, 2024, the Cabinet Secretary, Lands, Public House and Housing and Urban Development will consult with the Finance Committee on reintroducing the construction levy as per NCA Act Section 31 and repairing legal notice 24 of 2017, dated February 28, 2017, as led with the Kenya Gazette Calendar number 1225 of 2017. The Principal Secretary, State Department of Public Works, shall ensure that all outstanding bills, again totaling to 739 million, are paid by 31st, 2024, in accordance with the Regulation 42A of the PFM National Government Regulation 2015. Mr. Chairman, I got now the final step, and that is the financial recommendation. The committee, having scrutinized and reviewed the proposed estimate of 2024, there's a collection there, 2024-25, not 23-24, it recommends the following. 1, vote 1094. State Department for Housing and Urban Development. The proposed allocation in the exchequer amount for the year 2024-25 comprising the allocation for recurrent expenditure amounting to 1.315392681 billion, and the allocation for development expenditure amounting to 86,274,800,000 be approved with the following amendments. One, reduce the allocation for maintenance of government poor housing by 50 million. 2, reduce the allocation of construction of Vision 2030 flagship and ESP market by 50 million. Reduce the allocation of the Nairobi Metropolitan Service Improvement Program by 50 million. Reduce the amount of Ruai wholesale market by 280 million. And reduce the allocation of construction of Gikomba market by 50 million. And reduce the amount of the construction of Chaka market by 50 billion. This totals approximately 530 million. And as I proceed with the presentation, you'll see why we are saying that reduction and where it is going to be reallocated to. Number 2, the vote number 1095, State Department of Public Works. The proposed allocations in the exchequer amount for the year 2024-25, comprising the allocation of for recurrent expenditure amounting to 2,069,978,552, and the allocation for development expenditure amounting to 1,205,100,000 be approved. And increase the allocation for current transfer to national agencies, that is National Construction Authority, by 530. What we are saying here, Mr. Chairman, that reduction that I've talked about in vote 1094, that is where now that money will be transferred to. As I said earlier, if you looked at the amount of money that was deducted and left for National Construction Authority, the 926 billion is not enough. So if we hand them this amount now, it will bring them back again to a situation where they'll be able to operate. The additional requirement for funding, the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, recurrent expenditure. Increase the recurrent allocation by 440 million for the purchase and maintenance of 34 motor vehicles to ensure thorough monitoring of ongoing and planned affordable housing units. And 2, the State Department of Public Works, we are looking for an extra amount to fund the recurrent expenditure that will increase the allocation by 556 billion to facilitate the staff recruitment, purchase of 10 vehicles for effective supervision of various projects. On behalf of our chairman and the committee, I put a pause with our presentation. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Member for Bori, representing the chair, and who is also the vice chair of this very important and huge committee. So members, now I want you to interact with the chair. He has very minimal adjustments, I see, in actually both of them. Because even this other one, all the money is going to one entity. So members, tafadhali ulizeni maswali. Hata kama hamuna mtafute.
Chair.
Tunabuatandi.
Very effective. I don't have a lot of questions. I just want to ask about these bridges. There's no bridge from my Lego Songaban. Kwa hii list umetupatia. Can I give you a bridge you go and fix in this list? That is one. Yes. Secondly, Chairman, I wanted to find out about the recently approved markets. They were called ESP markets. And in my constituency, I think we were doing 2 projects, and I think they were very heavy. So I want to find out the contractors who awarded those projects. I wanted to understand the terms of those contracts. Was there a provision for advance payment? Because what I hear is that, for my case, is that we cleared the market that was there, and those traders were moved elsewhere. But now it is about 6 months. The contractor has not gone to the site. The contractor was waiting for advance payment. I don't know whether it was there. The contractor appears to be somebody who lacks capacity. And I see that if you don't intervene, those projects will not move. They will be stalled from the word go. So can I know if advance payment was part of the contracts? And if they were part of the contracts, when are you going to pay those advance payments so that the contractors can begin to work? Thank you.
Thank you.
You not all of them, then you answer them together.
Housing, I think the vice chair who is representing the chairman, I wanted to ask this issue of constituency housing project. I've seen the sector is focusing on urban centers. Do you have any proposal of rural housing? If there is any, kindly tell us any rural consensus that at least you have undertaken on this housing project.
Honorable Hasaka.
Kicked off in our area, it has been removed. We don't know the reason behind that. Also, Chair, I can see some list being circulated. I don't know whether it is to actually to water us down, I don't know. But there was a project for public participation in my area, 2 of them. But Chair, when we followed up, the PS for Public Works said it has been removed. I don't know how the public participation money is being removed because it is not your budget. So the Odole footbridge and the Handaraku footbridge through public participation, and these people are suffering. Students being attacked by crocodile while crossing the river. So that one is inhuman. I don't know where has that money gone.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. On the presentation, Mr. Chairman, the Vice Chair has indicated that they have captured the presidential directive, the project which the President already directed the committee to, the ministry to undertake. I would like to know whether the list which is provided here captures those directives, and if not, if there is any provision they have set aside for those projects. Since, Mr. Chairman, in my constituency there are like 4 projects which are omitted. One project we had already taken the contractor there, and I have not seen funds there for the ESP market at Adero, a project which was costing around 50 million. We have another project which was the last financial year. That project was at design level, but this project has not been awarded money. That is Maua Market. Also, the President and directed this ministry to build hostels for KMTC Maua, but there is no fund in this financial year. I would like to know from the Vice Chair, Committee for Housing, if those funds are factored. Mr. Chairman, we have also some bridges which we had already proposed for them to be done, but they are missing this list. So I wonder if it is only in my place or it's across. Thank you.
Honorable Millie Mabona.
Thank you, Chair. If there are these student villages, it's just no, they are not called hostels. They are called student villages. So is it possible for us to know what they are, where they are, so that we can also benefit from the student villages? Because I can see, and perhaps it also actually goes with the first question that we asked about rural areas, that we have student villages for Turkana, student villages for Kiambu, student villages, Transmara, student villages for Kaimosi Friends University. Can I also get a student village for Kenya Medical Training College in Suba North? Because we have no footbridge here, we have no affordable housing. But this is one project that actually, if you look at it, has tried, even though the first part understandably is spread more in the KK areas, but it has actually tried to go across many constituencies. And if we divided it between villages and footbridges and blah, 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 it can easily go to 290 constituencies. So is it possible to add that village to Suba North? Can you, part of the monies that you have saved, since you are very good, you are very straightforward, that's why I don't even have many questions for you. Can you, in your straightforward manner, just give me a little money for Suba North for a village? Because me, I don't want much, just a village.
Chair, you can now respond to Ajit from Harvard University. So it's good that he also says something.
Mr. Chairman, I have nothing to ask. There's nothing for the entire Marsabit County here. There's nothing from the entire Marsabit County there, so I will just support the others.
So you can proceed, Ridikri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chair, you can even see there's a proposed dormitory and a dining hall for Alliance High School. Different ministry mandates. So when you talk about, ordinarily when you talk about housing, we think about affordable housing. But now here I'm seeing the police is here, health is here, and other areas are here. Except, Chair, again, as I've said, my only concern in terms of distribution, even though it's spread out, but you do realize that it is kind of the same places receiving the same ones. The ones getting solar power are the ones getting bridges, are the ones getting villages, are the ones getting dormitories, are the ones getting chair of the budget committee. This budget committee is always demonized. Yet we have committees that are really benefiting here. Can we also be visitors in the Committee of Housing? We also get a lot of allocations in our constituencies, like at least a village.
Thank you. I was very letters. But let me begin by, I think your question, the last one. I will refer you to observation number 4 on page 25. On the definition of affordable housing. And the presidential directives on when you're putting up houses, or the other social amenities that need to accompany within that area. Page 25. You realize the affordable housing is not only the house itself, there are social amenities like the schools, the hospitals, the playing grounds, accommodation, etc., particularly if it is within the learning institutions. It's true, Suba North should be a beneficial of that, because we are not discriminative in whatever is happening. If there is a polytechnic that is there or a TTI, it is entitled to have the social village for the students.
We have TTI, we have KMTC, we have a polytechnic.
Thank you very much, Madam. You can be least assured. As we said, there will be an amendment, and this is a learning process, and it's all inclusive. This concept is to benefit everybody. Let me go to the other, all those requirements. I'm sure the board, and that's why we are really waiting for this board members to be operational, because this board has to be taken through. We have to interact with them. We have to interact as a committee, and they also need to interact with all the committees of Parliament, because all these observations and comment, they need to be taken to that board for them to consider. But the most important thing is whatever this board is going to do is within the confines of the Housing Act. Mr. Chairman, the issue of the advance payment is true. We are having some teething problem. You remember this issue of the courts and the issue of collecting the levies and the issue of allocating the monies. And now that this matter has been dispensed of, I can assure you, Honorable Mr. Atandi, I will personally look at that, but I can ensure in performing as such.
Chair, did you answer my question on?
Yes, I'm coming there. I'm coming there. One, let me just a minute. There's a question that was asked on the choice of housing. I want to refer you to Section 34 of the Act. This amendment was brought by the Senate, and it brought in the concept of the rural housing. So the Act already has addressed that. And remember, for the benefit of your constituency, it is already covered in the Act. All right? And there, because we have county, rural, and urban affordable housing committees, will be looking at all that to ensure that all the areas that are not strong urban centers, they are given the benefit. The footbridges. Mr. Chairman, you realize we even came to this committee pleading for reinstatement of the budget for the footbridges. I hope that as we finish this, you will now see the predicament that committee has. Because I'm being asked by the members of this committee to provide footbridges, but also we come here to plead for the footbridges not to be removed from our proposals. However, for information of Tana River, I have attached Annex 3, and I want to refer you to item number 12 and number 13. Annex 3. I'm sure he is very satisfied. Rural housing, I've already addressed that.
But Chairman, this is not my question. I'm saying there was money for public participation, which was there. These are for 2024, 2025. I'm saying the money which was in the 2023, 2024.
Mr. Chairman, you will bear with us that much of that budget was affected at the Treasury, and we did make attempts as a committee to intervene through this committee and the Finance Committee, because they are the intermediate between us and the Treasury. Majority of those footbridges, even if they were given through public participation, they were never guaranteed by the Treasury, and we are also affected, and it affected even footbridges for the members of even our committee.
Chair, our chair
Could I please have
should answer that
one?
question, because this
Can I
is not
please
for
have
the-
an next one?
Please, Mwesh, let me finish mine. This is public participation. This is not a committee money. In fact, my chair should answer that one if the Treasury has removed that one. Public participation for Tana River, 2023-2024.
And we can actually invite him for dinner because he's been a good man.
Can I protest inviting him for dinner? Chair, I wish to protest inviting him for dinner on the grounds that I've actually looked again at Annex. Chair, all these things, if you put them across constituencies, yani hata washing a pit latrine, you can't give Suba, no? Even just constructing a pit latrine at 200,000 shillings. I mean, let's be fair, honestly. You have constituencies that are repeated and repeated and repeated. That's not fair. You need to consider other constituencies. Even if you don't consider mine, let's be fair in distribution.
I want to tetea Millie.
Chair, I think as Millie is passionate about her constituency, that all these documents are perused through, Chair, leave alone a constituency. There's no mention of Taita Taveta account anywhere. Anywhere. I've even seen a list, Chair, of 53 projects, and we have only 47 counties, but still Taita Taveta is missing. Just show me one thing, 1 shilling from housing that is in Taita Taveta. I have not seen even one. I have seen, please, no, hajafunga mkutano. Wacha waangalie, alafu turekebishe hiyo.
Tumaliza mkutano.
Chair, let me give the comfort. Let me give the comfort of the members. I have taken note of that. I've taken the concerns of Suba constituency and other areas that are Ulega Usonga, and because there is an element of adjustment, we will accordingly, and also Taita Taveta, we will. Mr. Chairman, there is a question that I did not elaborate. That's the question of John Paul. I'm very much aware of that market. It is on the record together, because if you refer, there is a place where we noted that there's a market which were to be adjusted because of low population. It has a high population of 300 traders. Those ones were moved from the category of ESP to a higher level, and I want to investigate whether that's where Ulengo Soga is and Maua. But Athero Logene, Athero Market, and the one for Maua, they're on the pipeline. And thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Redikri Muridhania. Due to public demand.
Yes.
With your team.
Can I do a last one?
Thank you, Chair.
Yes,
that
the
was
last
a
one
very
from
good presentation. I'm happy.
Yes, or yeah, that's vote of.
My colleagues have given their reservation on how they're segregated. Actually, I'm one of them, but we are used to that. My really important thing here, Chairman, is what Wario asked. Chairman, if you could just lend me your ear, please. I was saying the issue of public participation is not a joke. This is a constitutional mandate. And the moment a ministry touches what the public had wanted and it's given in the constitution, is a very serious issue. So I don't think you should take the issue of Arios very, very lightly. It's very important. It was something that was asked by the people of that, and the money was allocated. You didn't look for that money. It was allocated through the budgetary process of the budget committee for that the constitution demanded. So I think that's a very important issue. I don't want anything of that to happen to any of us in the future or for any other purpose, even this year, where people are going to public participation and they're given their projects. So, Chairman, I think you should look into that and give, although I know my chairman will follow up, that's for sure, look into that and make sure it doesn't happen again to anybody.
Have you noted, Mheshimiwa? I didn't see you noting. So karibuni sana for chakula iko hapo nje na tumeshukuru sana as usual. We wish you all the best, Mheshimiwa, even as you implement the housing agenda. Thank you very much.